Yes! This is the gun that should need no introduction. This is still the R-101. When you use this gun, you're bringing it back to basics. Titanfall 1 has it, Titanfall 2 has it, and when there's a Titanfall 3, you better believe that the R-101 is going to be in it. And as its flagship weapon in Titanfall, you get everything that encompasses the game into one gun. It's lean, it feels agile, it's snappy, it's got consistent power and precision. I love how versatile this gun is, just like my pilot. It operates in all the effective ranges, but it still has some skill on the outside depending on how good you are at recoil control and feathering the trigger. This gun always just seems so mature to me. It's one of those guns where you sometimes want to be with your feet on the ground and just start strafing and be like, this is old school, bitch. Just gonna shoot ya. And in regards to the variant, just know that you're just impersonating. That big scope on you looks ridiculous. You're not pimping like my boy. R-201. What I find about the R-201, it seems to be really well suited to the mid-rounded player, the player that's going to be standing and shooting as well as being aggressive. The off-the-hip accuracy kind of lends itself to being like an SMG, allowing you to be a little bit more aggressive than a G2 or a Spitfire. So it is probably one of my new favorite guns. I actually barely used it when it came to Titanfall 2. I went from the Hemlock, because I'm an asshole, at the beginning of the game, to the Alternator, and those were my two main. Well, the Hemlock just died off with the patch, but the other changes in weapons kind of came from changes to the game. When they got rid of amped weapons, you stopped seeing DMRs, double takes, because they used to be able to one-shot pretty reliably. That was smooth-ass grappling. You're going to notice I also have a little bit more of a boots on the ground right now in this clip, and that was kind of just to show you, is this kind of that kind of gun where you can just sit back on buildings and aim down sights? It is to a certain extent, but it still doesn't have the same kind of level of control, accuracy, and ease of use, or even just more bullets as some of its contenders. So medium range is good, close up is good, because it still has that off-hip spread. But challenging some of the other light machine guns may be a little bit harder depending on your ranges. Once you get into the outside ranges, you really have to watch out for that G2. I don't think it's a good idea to challenge that. And if you are, it actually requires some feathering of the trigger. You don't just want to hold it down. At some ranges you do, but as long as you're controlling that recoil, you can technically do whatever you want. It really just comes down to how good you are at controlling the recoil on this thing, because they did end up nerfing it. Back in Titanfall 1, this thing was a laser. Is it a laser now? No, I wouldn't say it's a laser. It definitely has some kick. Anything that you actually find that you have to feather the trigger, it's because it has way too much kick and you can't just manually control it. Of course, the best players do, you know, so if you're that guy that's the bomb, I'm sure you can hold on to it. I like this guy. He's been after me. I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got. He tried with a grenade. He's coming up. He probably wants to try another grenade or a grapple, but it's not happening this time. If you do stuff like this, guys, there's a good chance you're gonna get on my videos. I am a big fan of shenanigans, so bring it. He knows where I am. There goes one grenade. He's got another one in his hands. Quick little story about grenades. Every so often I notice that the beep just is not there or it's delayed, so you have to use an internal clock or you blow up. Oh, wait a minute. This was close. Like, I was like, okay, good idea. You see, it lined up. He just decided to take a different path. So I'm not that disappointed with that one. That one was a little bit easier. When it comes to ejects and trying to hit people with grenades, there's only one certainty in life, and that's that if they use their double jump, their trajectory is practically fixed. Up until that point, you're taking a little bit of a gamble. And there's also this sudden increase in speed as they're falling that you have to watch out for. Oh, hi. Alright, he got his revenge and teabags me. But it's so short-lived. Now the funny thing here is that I had to turn down my aim down sight sensitivity when I use the R-101. I'm at a 3, so when I aim down sights with a Mastiff, it was ridiculously slow, so I couldn't keep up. And that's one of the things that I have to change when I'm with the alternator. I use my aim down sights in order to do quick 360s. But that requires you to actually know how you set it up. It affects grabbing guns off of grunts. That's one of the problems I had. I'm like, oh, I finally started taking advantage of that. I'm like, oh, I need another gun, or sometimes it's just nice to have a good secondary. Maybe that's why they nerfed it, because they expected you to grab it off the grunt. It kind of puts a little bit more emphasis on them. It's kind of a little bit more like League of Legends or something like that. You know, like getting that last hit on a Reaper counts for a lot. I like that the other AI try to shoot it and they try to steal it from you. So there's little things like that, and obviously the sustained fire also gives somebody on the other team enough time to pin you down or see you on the radar and things like that. So there is actually a lot of skill in regards to playing against the AI. But I don't know what this is all about. Honestly, this is bullshit. I didn't even know Reapers had executions. And I'm no forensic guy or psychologist, but that hit seemed personal. Does this machine have feelings? Game's over. How are we gonna close this? Alright, I need something to cheer me up from what just happened. Let's see who's lucky enough to get this next grenade. Remember in Halo how you could bring your legs up by crouching in the air? Does that work in this game? I'm not sure. Do people crouch jump in this game to try to dodge bullets? Is that a thing? I have way too many amped weapons right now. We were playing Pilots vs. Pilot, having this many saved up at like the 80 kill mark. It's a huge boost. It turns the R-101, it makes it possible to challenge a G2 during that time. I'm a big fan of the 30 seconds of amped weapons. I think it's a lot more fair than it used to be, no doubt about that. Taste this one here. And then he dies to nuke eject. Thanks, guys. And that's the way she goes sometimes. What are we gonna do, guy? I just got shot by a dude in a tower. We're gonna take care of this guy, maybe take out some AI, you know, build up some Titan core. Oh no, I'm too good for that? Okay, AIs aren't worth my time? Okay. You know who's worth my time? This camper up here. Who wants to see him get killed? I hope it's you guys. What am I gonna do to him? Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait till we get up there. How long is this gonna take? Probably not that long. I have a grappling hook. I was gonna grapple him, but... well, this is an R-101 video, right? So, we gotta do it with the R-101. And then I'm also gonna take a souvenir. Yeah, we're better than this. We don't need to camp the tower. But you can. You can. I like doing it every so often. Try and get me off. Try and grapple me off, more like it. I will meet you at grapples on the highest part of the map, and then it's on. To initiate this sequence, do 2 360s, followed by an up step, down step, side to side, back step, up step, back to back. Alright, let's do something like that. If I see you do that, then it's on highest point. Did you guys notice that that guy was throwing satchels? I knew it was from up here. We're gonna get him. Swish! And from here, we're gonna get into the last clip. It's pretty long, but it's got some really cool kills in it, so I'm gonna let it play out, and then I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of my thoughts, not just about this gun, because I've been using a lot of different things. North Star, I really like it. Do I think anything's the best? No. No, there's really no way to just say this is clearly the best. There is definitely some things that are going to be better in different situations, but then again, it depends on your playstyle, so I think you always have to try to keep that in mind when you see other people play with some weapons. I've seen people be beasts with this weapon, and I could never get into it, and when I did pick it up this time, I felt really good with it, or at least better than I had. Check out this shot. Yes! What I really want to get into now is actually a little bit more team play. I've been playing with more and more of you guys lately. Like, I've had more time in the evening, so things are pretty good. And when we have time to actually pick up a whole group, I notice how much different the play is. So I kind of want to start exploring those things, and I think it'd be nice to kind of think about those kind of things for the new game, because the thing is, people do want a competitive mode, and most people can say not, but if it's a first-person shooter, people want that level of competition in FPS games. And that doesn't mean you have to make the game super serious, it just means you at least have to put some sort of ladder system or some way to tell where you're at in regards to the rest of the population. People want a real accomplishment, not just loot. Okay, people love loot. Check out how many amped weapons I'm gonna launch at this guy. Now it's just a matter of left or right. I think the intuitive thing would have been to go away from the people shooting you, so I assume they're right, but he decided to take the angle with the Titan. Solid dodge by my fellow Titan, and right now I'm scared shitless in this corner. I was so happy to be alive. I'm like, just resist the urge to pull this trigger and hit this wall, because I've been killed by my Thunderbolt quite a bit. So I've been using this gun for a straight week, and I found that it was challenging at first, and even now I find it very satisfying, because I find that you do have to make some key decisions, like are you going to go off the hip, or are you going to aim down sights, are you going to be feathering your trigger, are you going to be going for the recoil control. There's a lot of factors to this gun that make it so good and so well-rounded, but that's only if you're also as well-rounded as it can be. You have to be able to decide how are you going to engage these people at close, medium, and far, and which engagements are you going to take. There's that doubling up. I just wanted them off me. Smoke plus cluster bomb equals game over. So the biggest difference between aiming down sights and going off the hip is field of view, and that's what you don't want to lose too often. That's what makes this gun so much better in close quarters, at least for me personally, than a G2 or Spitfire. I find it hard to keep up with people when I have to aim down sights. When you have the option to just fire off the hip, you're not going to lose all that field of vision. That's why in most games, people will always raise their field of view if it's available in a first-person shooter. It gives you that much more awareness and makes close-quarter combat so much easier. It's all about rounding it off though, so you can still see people in the distance. Play around with your option, guys. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you're new, well, leave a comment, let me know who you are. I'm starting to match up more people to their gamer tags, so that's always cool. Anyways, that's it for me. See you next time.